Okay.
Recording is in progress.
Thank you very much, Andrew. So, good morning. I am Lloyd Helferty, Chief Ecosystem Director, Program Development Director, and Sustainable Society Consultant for Energime University. I am in Canada, even though Energime is in Manhattan, New York. I'm also the co-founder and administrator of the We Energime Global Corporation Turtle Island International Civil Society Organization that's seeking to undertake life value peace education in the context of life learning gardens. And I will just put our web link into the chat here for the We Energime Global Corporation Turtle Island group. So I am also a Goodwill Ambassador for the 5 Points Youth Foundation in Los Angeles, which is a portfolio that covers Canada, La Francophonie, the Commonwealth of Nations and Turtle Island communities, as a member of the ad hoc International Advisory Board of Goodwill Ambassadors and Activists, seeking to empower our communities to engage with royal, Indigenous, and tribal leadership, as well as interfaith business and neighborhood collaboratives to leave no one behind. So again, I will put my contact information in the chat. I am also a member of what we are, an organization we're creating called the Global Unity Business Group, which came together as a coalition of small businesses originally a couple months ago. And the Global Unity Business Group really is what we call a humanitarian enterprise and a global sustainable and regenerative development corporation, supporting and promoting the local delivery of what we call open source regenerative climate smart infrastructure set up as life learning gardens. So we're really managing a global unity network of localized UnityNet, local community engagement teams, and regional UnityNet local business development networks. So we're supporting and working in partnership with these Unity programs. We have events, projects, campaigns, and a local Unity network of organizations that have been established around the world that deliver, or teams, I should say, around the world that deliver various projects, campaigns, events, such as Trees of Peace and Reconciliation tree planting ceremonies, some expected virtual edutainment events and shows, along with these Indigenous Global Unity Summit Series events, and programs or events called Coordinated International Global Fun Festivals. So we're also working in support of the expansion of the Global Women's Development Network, and most recently in support of Agri4Dev, who we have a representative today on our call. As noted, we are supporting and promoting the local delivery of open source regenerative climate smart infrastructure set up as life learning gardens designed for the delivery of hands-on practicum learning programs supporting all manner of life value peace education, including these garden configurations called CSV gardens, victory forests, climate smart kitchens, smart spark learning centers, or otherwise known as climate smart education and training centers, and Wheel of Life farms and farm schools. So our projects include sacred site watershed mapping, something we call the Collaborative Tree Planting Initiative or program for twinning communities, the development of a system of payments for ecosystem services, which we would like to eventually develop on something like a blockchain, where we can establish a digital token exchange system for certified climate smart products that help to permanently sequester carbon and that are made, these products are made by humanitarian organizations that are helping to implement the local solutions for achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, or the SDGs. So we have other campaigns such as a Dream Boards and Every Community campaign to establish local community dream boards, where we help to mobilize the youth, especially, to help turn their dreams into reality, along with a nascent tea diplomacy initiative as well. So the humanitarian entrepreneurship learning programs that we're trying to develop will be supporting, are very much focused on engaging youth, engaging educators, and engaging decision makers in the learning programs and the community engagement processes, but with a strong emphasis on women and girls as leaders in their communities and also of their homes and families as per SDG 5, gender equality. So the goal of the business is eventually to establish what we call a 21st century economy of compassion and cooperation, and the recognition of life value as being fundamentally more important than money value, where money is just a fictional construct created by humans that helps us to make decisions about the most economic pathway to achieving certain outcomes, which are based on the goals that we collectively and individually set for ourselves as human beings. So the Global Unity Network that we're establishing is delivering this education, training, and awareness raising in programs in cooperation with the Global Unity Business Group. So we're networked around the world through this International Unity Gardens Network, which is supported by the Unity Learning Network of educators who understand the importance of delivering these programs of life value peace education in their local communities. So this is week 6 of our IGU Summit, or Indigenous Global Unity Summit, where my friend and colleague Ganga Awal is set to tell us about the what's called the newer people of the Kathmandu Valley, along with some information about their cultural systems and norms, their values, and the various humanitarian entrepreneurship that's already happening in Nepal, and has been happening for many years. And so Ganga is someone whom I've known for many years, since about 2011 or so. It's about 10 years already. And so she also took part in our hunger, health, and homelessness webinar last year, which actually helped to establish our Global Unity SDG 123 team. And that original event actually began with an interview of Dr. Sam Franco, who's an internet ecosystem researcher and policy analyst, Mr. Brian Hart, a retired senior manager of a provincial facility in Ontario, who's also a clergyman, who's been helping homeless people in this community, and Renia Tominski at Hallowell Gardens in Picton, Ontario, was at the time our primary community pilot project education and training coordinator for what we called the PEC pilot project of Prince Edward County. A pilot project that was proposed as part of our original collaborative tree planting program. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy in some of the information from that time of oh, my screen is frozen here. From that time, as sort of historical. Wow. Okay. My computer just froze. Something's wrong here. Sorry for that. Computer glitch is happening here, and I'm not able to actually do anything. I'm hoping that you can still hear me.
while you're frozen, let me, if I may, Andrew Williams Jr. here, go ahead and introduce the sponsors of today's event. At the bottom of the screen there, you'll see the 5 Points Youth Foundation, again, of which I'm president. But you'll also see at the very left, the golden eye, so to speak. That's for Universal Citizens Media Network. That's represented by Lady Alicia Hamilton, who's also one of our Goodwill ambassadors. And the idea is for us to empower ourselves as producers and not just consumers of content. So Universal Citizens Media Network empowers anyone with a mobile device to actually become a citizen journalist, as we call it, so that we can actually kind of offset the 5 corporations that own 95% of the world's media by providing a narrative from the citizens on the ground, or universal citizens. Next to that, you'll find the logo for the Community Development Corporation out of Pakistan with Mariam Khan. Then 5 Points Youth Foundation is Agri for Dev, represented here by Fuli Chai. And then AHIABGA, and on the right, the Ed Fu Foundation, which is the sponsor of today's event. So with that, Lloyd, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And perhaps while we're waiting for your guest, we could actually introduce the people that are here and choose to introduce themselves. So I'll turn the floor back over to Stephanie. You were here first, and then Fule, and then we'll move forward.
Well, hi everybody. I'm Stephanie Schuler, and I'm in Toronto, Canada right now. I'm honored to be with all of you and to be a part of this conversation. I'm a mother of 3 young adults, and that's relevant because it's informed a lot of who I am professionally and personally. I am a doctoral candidate at the University of Toronto, OISE, and I'm looking at the socio-emotional impacts of schooling on children. So the climate, the internal climate and the communal climate for children. And I really believe in a growth-based system rather than a deficit or disability-based system. And I look at multiliteracies and I focus on positive psychology and self-directed learning, and I am the holistic education representative globally for AERA, which is a scholarly association, and I am the Canadian representative for alternative education, and I am for merging all the ways that encourage children to thrive, and that means in accordance with their own backgrounds, their own identities, and a self-directed curriculum. I am also the founder and director of Maui Aloha Project, which is inclusive, international, intergenerational eco-village initiative, global initiative in Maui, Hawaii, and also in Ontario, Canada, where we are, it's a co-creation, and we want the entire community to look at this as a new opportunity, a new design opportunity, design in all realms, social design and also physical design that are in alignment with climate smart initiatives and methodologies and materials. We're looking to be a self-sustainable, regenerative communities, and offering internships and education and intergenerational learning centers and healing centers and living opportunities. And we want to be, a co-creation that's in alignment with all the original peoples wherever the particular communities are. And part of some greater Toronto area initiatives, some local initiatives where we're doing climate smart programs, increasing children's and school en masse immersion in green spaces, outdoor spaces, and creating a global curriculum for that will for food security and food systems from seed to table for young kids to systemically start being exposed to all those systems so that they can be sustainable and regenerative and transfer those skills to the home. And I'm involved with the Global Unity Learning Network, where we are beginning to establish a global network so that we can share all our green climate smart initiatives for the individual, the community, and the globe. So we're looking forward to having that global network, and I'm happy to be a part of all these initiatives and more. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stephanie. This silence, can I speak? Is it my turn, Andrew?
Yes, Fulay, I was
Oh,
on mute, but yes, it is your turn. Thank you.
all right. Thank you. My name's Afula Chi. I'm originally from Cameroon, residing in Montreal, Canada. I am the founder and president of the Association of Agripreneurs for Development. The initiative is actually to support agricultural entrepreneurs to scale their production, to have access to inputs, and to solve the issue of food insecurity and the climate change challenges that they are actually going through in the tropical regions and in every part of the world. Here in Canada, we are working on a project to support, no, that's to introduce climate smart agriculture to youths through an educational system. And that is what we are currently creating with these beautiful people here. And I'm equally a mindset and business coach. That is what I do for profit. And I'm always available to share my know-how, my insights to support businesses, startups that want to start creating some income for themselves. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And now I'll open the floor to the next person that would like to either raise your hand or begin speaking. We have several guests here, so ball's in your court. Okay, Doug.
Okay, I'll go. I'm going to be, I think, presenting in a couple of weeks, so I don't want to repeat myself. So I'll keep this fairly short. I think that we are in a struggle between two emerging scenarios. One is represented very well in this group, and that's decentralization, the villages, the culture that goes with it, and all of that. What I'm concerned about is in parallel, we're seeing a move towards centralization, authoritarian regimes, big data and algorithms that are going to try and merge together with big corporations to run the world. My view is that when you listen to people talking about the future from a progressive point of view, it rarely comes down to the level of an image of how people are actually going to live. I became convinced a few years ago that you need to solve several problems at the same time, the key one being food, and along with it comes habitat. And I'm struck by how much talk about the future stresses the garden, but when you look at the pictures of the projects, there's often no people in them. It's all just plants. I think the garden is the beautiful place to raise children. It's safe for young people, for old people, and it puts work right at hand. So there's a tremendous amount to say that the village is a good way to go. In the future, probably we all imagine that the villages will be interconnected through the internet, and that raises the problem of bigness and who owns that network. But those are the things that I think about. I'm very interested in the history of how we got here. I'm very interested in what the future holds for us. In particular, I think that we need to have a vision of a life that makes sense. So if we integrate food with habitat, with culture, we have, I think, a combination that's worth striving for. So I'll stop there.
Well, excellent. Thank you so very much. Please feel free to put any contact information you choose into the chat. And if you have reference links to any websites or information, we certainly would appreciate that as well, Doug. Thank you so much for being here.
Good.
You have also included in the chat a few links. As I mentioned, the Ed Fu Foundation is one of our sponsors, but they are focused on the indigenous populations worldwide. So that technically includes all of us. So we do have access to working with partners. So on the website, you'll find a link if you choose to identify how you'd like to partner with us. Bruce Merlo, you've been very quiet. Time to wake up and say hello.
I just wanted to apologize. My system did freeze for probably about 5 minutes, and then it eventually just kicked me off. I couldn't, so I actually wasn't able to watch anything for the last few minutes. I had no audio, and everything was just frozen.
Well, no worries, Lloyd. You probably know the people here. We're just introducing ourselves. So we're just going through that process now, and I think Bruce Merlo was about to next introduce himself, if he's able to unmute and do so.
Yeah, hi. Does everybody hear me or?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I'm actually working here with my girlfriend. So yeah. Okay, yeah. Like I'm on the CA of our local Table de Quartier. We're bringing like all the community organizations, arm's length with the city, and the police department, the economic department in Verdun, which is a borough of Montreal. And it's actually been voted the 11th most coolest neighborhood in the world. I'm involved with the ATU for proper public transit. I'm writing a book about the carbon cycle science and how we could reduce greenhouse gases with regenerative agriculture, 5 tools, and look at how James Lovelock's definition Gaia falls into it. Like I'm also involved with designing a machine now actually extract proteins from leaves. So I came up with the extruder design. This is a partnership with a professor from Michigan Institute of Technology. So yeah, I'm involved in a whole bunch of different stuff. Like I really like this platform because I've actually found a family just like I am. Like it's good that I could actually listen to what other people are doing and know where to find everybody. And yeah, it just I'm very enthused. Like it looks like a lot of things are actually going our way, and we're going to start making the world a better place.
Thank
Wonderful.
you, Bruce.
Thank you so much, Bruce. Appreciate that. Nikki DePina, you were one of our first guests, so please introduce yourself. Then we'll get to Miriam Khan, who just joined us.
Thank you very much. It's always such a pleasure to be part of this and to meet all of you that are so inspiring, trying to make a difference in the world. My organization is called Global Peace, Let's Talk. And that is exactly what we do. We talk an awful lot. Most of our work is in Africa. Cameroon is very close to my heart. We've got a lot of members in Cameroon. These young, inspiring people that every day I learn a lesson from them about what we should be doing to make this world a better place. The different countries, Global Peace Let's Talk is now almost in all the African countries. We've close to 300 members, mostly young people that have been in extreme conflict areas. And the beautiful story is that these young people, this is what they do. When they, in their area where there's extreme conflict, they stand up on their own and they gather the people together and they start doing something positive. And there are so many things that they do, mostly to help them feel secure in being able to grow their own vegetables, to be able to farm, to be able to generate some sort of income. So they teach them skills, they teach a woman skills, they educate the children, they have schools under the trees. It doesn't matter where, as long as the children are learning something. They do a lot of education in peace environments and speak to the children about what matters most, about feelings. They'll ask the children, what are you feeling? And if the children say to them, I'm scared, they'll say, how can we make this better? And the stories that these children come up with and the ideas are just so incredible that you sometimes wonder if the children shouldn't be running this world instead of the adults, because they know what they want. They want love. They want to be able to go to bed not hungry. They want water, most of all, to know how they can access water. And they want space to learn. So education is a big thing with young people. So Global Peace Let's Talk is really an organization that is supporting and profiling the young people, mostly across Africa, as I said, but also we are now working with other countries. We're working very closely with Pakistan. In fact, one of our directors is in Pakistan. We're also working with Argentina. We're also working with London. We're busy with a project in Europe. So we all over, but the magic for me, the special thing for me is bringing people together. People that can talk and say, this is what I feel, this is what I think, and somebody is listening. And that is how we slowly, step by step, going forward to try and bring in programs that can help support peace initiatives. So I want to say thank you very much for this profile. I enjoy every week I'm on here. I'm learning something from all of you. So thank you very much for that. Thank you to Angie, and thank you for all the contributions. I make a lot of notes, and I love to share what you've taught me with others. So thank you. Namaste.
Namaste and Ubuntu. And thank you so much, Nikki. Ganga, thank you for joining us. We're just going through introductions. So give us just a few more moments and then you'll be able to have your presentation.
Okay.
In the meantime,
Namaste.
Namaste. Thanks for being here.
Okay, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm Ganga Lakshmi Awal. I live in Bhaktapur, nearby Kathmandu. And I'm one of the oldest indigenous people in the Kathmandu Valley, so which I'm going to present it later, whenever you allow me. Thank you.
Okay, no more than maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome, thank you.
Carlos, it looks as though you were here. Carlos, if you're able to unmute and introduce yourself. Miriam Khan is not feeling well, but she is here and joining us in spirit. So Carlos, are you able to unmute and introduce yourself?
Yeah, good afternoon from Sierra Leone. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. My name is Carlos Richard Sanko. I am the country director for Zandris Foundation. I've been part of these teams since December onto this time. So we are moving slowly. We are working on a range of things in Sierra Leone, and we are also working with local partners. We are working in the area of promoting agriculture, agribusiness, and promoting also climate smart environmental safety programs. We are working with women and young people. They are direct targets. We also work in the area of education, promoting the healthcare alongside with the government of Sierra Leone, and also promoting entrepreneurship. So basically that is us. I'm working with several community-based partners based in different parts of Sierra Leone to promote all the thematic areas that I mentioned. So we are together with you people, and we want you to come to Sierra Leone to help promote what we are doing, alongside also to learn from what we are doing through institutional exchanges, etc. We're really yearning to promote more women and young people because, for instance, in agriculture, women in Sierra Leone, 65% form the bulk of the labor force. They are in the villages, they are in the communities. Men or young people have run away from the villages, from the communities because of difficulties, because of other things, yearning for opportunities. So in a short or summary, that is for Zandri's Foundation, and that is for Carlos from Sierra Leone. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Carlos.
Yeah.
So I'll open the floor. Mohammed just joined us. Mohammed, you just joined us. Are you able to unmute and introduce yourself? If not, I know Peter is here just as an observer. So I'll turn it over to our special guest of the day. So Ganga, you may, if you choose, also share your screen. And everyone here is invited to put your contact information in the chat. I'll be happy to send everyone a link to the recording that gives us your information. But Ganga, the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Actually, Andrew, I'm hoping that I could just do a little bit of an introduction.
Of course.
I mentioned earlier that Ganga is somebody I've known for many years, almost 10, and took part in our homelessness, hunger and health webinar, which I was saying that I'm putting some information about that original webinar into the chat. But Ganga does live in Nepal, South Central Asia, and is the chairperson for the National Federation of Women Farmers and the Appropriate Technology Asia in Nepal, and vice president of the Rotary Club of Bhaktapur, and has a master's degree in sociology and anthropology from Tribhuvan University in Nepal. And as noted earlier, Ganga will be telling us about the Newar people of the Kathmandu Valley, their cultural norms, their values, and the humanitarian entrepreneurship that is happening in Nepal. But actually, I'm hoping that I can frame today's conversation by noting again that I'm also this ad hoc International Advisory Board Goodwill Ambassador for the 5 Points Youth Foundation in Los Angeles, which is spearheading this campaign to localize the Sustainable Development Goals. And with the Global Unity Business Group, we're creating is actually intended to try to formalize this process of the localization of the SDGs, which is being done by the establishment of this Global Unity Network, which includes the Unity Gardens Network and the Unity Learning Network, and will likely soon also include a Unity Health Network and an Indigenous Global Unity Network as well, which of course is the basis for these conversations. And all of these, we believe, are important components of the network of networks that we are trying to create as what we call the Global Unity Network. So I will now let Ganga have her voice and to present what she would like to say today.
Okay. Thank you so much, Lloyd, for so nice introduction of me. We've been doing a lot, yes, I share with you. And as a Newar people of Kathmandu Valley, I'm going to share my screen. Where is it? I'm looking for my document. Is it okay? Document? Yes. With our cultural dress. This is the Newari people, Newari girls with musical instruments and dancing, the typical Newari clothes that is hand woven by the Newari people, and we have been protecting the uniform till today. And I would like to start from the introduction. Of course, the word Newar is etymologically identical with the place named Nepal. So this is how Nepal is named, from Newar. Nyewa is refers to inhabitant of Nepal. The Newars are the original inhabitants of Kathmandu Valley, and we are about 5% of total population, according to census of 2011. So now it's time for another census this year later. So mainly in Kathmandu, Lalitpur and Bhaktapur, the main 3 districts I have shown in the map. So we are in northern part, we are border to China, and south, west, and west, south, and east is India. So we would like to say it's sandwich between giant China and India. We are a small country in between China and India, in South Asia. And one of the Adivasi Janjati culture, I would like to join my charts. It's going to finish. Sorry. My laptop is going to get my battery. Okay, now done. And we have unique culture, norms and values, and mainly follows Buddhism and Hinduism together. We never have confused, or we never have a fight for cultural values, because we have very good harmony. We practice Hinduism and Buddhism together. Newars divided internally to more than 40 distinct cultural groups in different occupational categories, but they share common language, mother tongue, Newari, or it's called Nepal Bhasha. And we have our own literature and letter different than Nepali. Newars have gained widespread reputation as skilled craftsmanship. We have masterpieces of wooden craft, stone craft of medieval period. So we, known as the medieval period, is the golden period. So during the Newari king regime, we developed a lot of art and architecture, wood carving, block printing, building, weaving, oil pressing, so rich in this culture and handicrafts. So history of Kathmandu Valley, the Newar people are closely related to its settlement, traditional inhabitants. Kathmandu Valley was huge lake during the ancient time. And we have Swambhunath, Bodhisattva, Manjusri, these are Buddhist. And there is a story that the Buddhist, the goddess, she caught the mountain in the northern side, Manjusri, with the sword, and the water drained out of the valley, and it became habitant of, the people began to stay in lake. So we have very fertile soil in Kathmandu Valley. We grow a lot of vegetables and grain because it used to be a big lake. The first one settled were from Gopal Mansi. It's a very long history. I don't think so. I will go all through. So it is the history of the Kathmandu Valley from when they've been Lichavi, Kirat, Molla. 18th century is the most popular century with lots of art and architecture they developed in medieval time. And settlement patterns of Newar society. You can see we have, this is the Darbar Square of Lalitpur with the terracotta roof and some stone sculpture, temples. And on the left-hand side is Bihara. What Bihara means the Buddhist monastery. And society formation, Newar society regarded extremely complicated, and division of caste. We have in Newar also there are sub-caste like Brahmin, known as priests. So we have priests, warriors, chaptri, merchants, there are Baise, and Sudra and the laborers and Buddhist priests. So different, more than 100 we have inside Newari also. It is very big. And the society have their distinct identity among the others. Traditional infrastructure, art and architecture, I have already described at the first. Our left-hand side, our musical instrument, our Newari typical clothes is black and red borders in saris, and our food, it is very good combination of the protein, minerals, and rice flour, the one with white bread. Inside we have raw sugar. So that is our special food. And on right hand side, the Newari goals. And social organizations, we follow Hinduism, Buddhism, I told together, and Biscuit Jatra, Buddha Jayanti, these are the famous, and social religious organization also, where we do entrepreneurship through Guti. Guti mean social institution where people help each other and they do humanitarian work through Guti. We have common kitchen also in Guti. I will show you some picture of common kitchen also, where we practice twice a year in common kitchen we cook. And life passes rituals, series of celebrations. We have different rituals, norms for birth, for death, and for numerous rituals we follow. Some of them are birth, also known as also puberty, when girls have first menstruation. So we have to hide girls for 12 days in separate room. And marriage and Zonko. Zonko is at 77 years old. When men or women get 77 years old, we have special ritual Zonko. And after death, also death ritual. This is the one of the birth ceremony when child is born. So we have special ritual conducted in term as Bienkegu is to make purification and to show the baby first light and to do some worship. And this is for never female child to get with, on the left hand side is Biel Biba, that is marriage with a fruit, wood apple on the left hand side, and the right hand side Gufa, that means marriage with son. So normally Newari women get married 3 times, it is called. First time when she is 5 to 9 year old, she gets married with a fruit. That is called Biel Biba on left hand side. That is marriage ceremony with fruit, wood apple. And second marriage ceremony is with the sun. She is looking at with her special position to the sun, her husband. She's watching. And that is before menstruation. Yeah, like this, and this. To look at the sun. And third is with men, of course. Someone gets married with men, and we have ritual in Hinduism that if husband dies, wife has to wear white clothes for 1 year. But Newari girls, Newari women, they don't need to wear white clothes for 1 year when her husband dies, because her son husband never dies, because she got married with the son and with wood apple, the fruit. So it will never die. That is why Newari women are never widowed, because she got married to the son. And this is for the child boys, that is called Bratabanda. When at the time of teenage, about 9 to 14 years old, adolescent, we make them this type of cultural Bratabanda. So after Bratabanda, this ceremony, so he gets a young man. Now he's after the ceremony, he will become young man. And this is the marriage ceremony with the man. I have shown you with the fruit, son, and this is with man. And Junko, Junko is the man or women when gets 77 years and 7 months and 7 days. This is the special day ceremony for Newari people, and also called Bhim Ratharohan, and death ceremony, or death when a man or women Newari people die. So person dies, a series of rituals have to be followed, like a funeral system. They make cremation in the river bank, and from the funeral system to rituals, making 7 days, 9 days, 12 days, and so many days, up to 2 years, we have to follow the rituals. And also feast we have to serve. And in that ritual, Guti has an active role to play. The Guti is social institution, I told you. The Guti member, all the Guti member has to present during the cremations and other rituals. So another part of Guti is integral part of Newari society, group of people united for a common objective, created to enhance and standard of living of people due to realization of need to live together and work together for common purpose. That is the Guti. So the eldest man will be the leader of the Guti, and members called Gutiar. So these are the function of Guti members, and economic aspect as well, run by incomes of land. If some Guti has their common land, so they get rice, beaten paddy things every year, or sometimes they collect from the members. They have a common kitchen where they cook, and they have feast party twice a year. If Guti has land, or if they don't have land, again they have to have the expenses collect for activities and rituals. In other case, money required for functioning Guti is called from Gutiars. And there are many types of types of Niji Guti is called, you can see big common kitchen on the top of the right hand side with people are cooking pot. Okay, I got a message stops here. May I stop it? Go ahead. No? Okay, I was just showing some common kitchen.
Yes.
And
it's up to you. Please, you have the time to complete it if you choose.
Yeah, I would, of course, because I was thinking of there is something meshes. It was not for me. Okay, thank God.
Go right ahead.
I thought my time is running out. No, I thought that I was so confused.
No, you have time. Take your time.
Okay, thank you so much, Andrew. So religious Guti based and religion. Most of the temples of gods and goddesses have their own Guti, which are responsible for regular maintenance of infrastructure of temple and surroundings. They are so independent, the temples, for renovation also, they have their own funding, sustainable source of funding. And service-oriented Guti. This type of Guti is created for providing service to the society and culture. Guti for that Guti I discussed before. And then we have Sana Guti, known as serving water and festival. So some Guti members, they serve water at free of cost for drinking water for all the participants in the festivals. So for that, different Guti. And then city celebrating particular occasion. City Nakha means that is another, we have Guti. City Nakha means every year we have to clean our water resources. That is we call groundwater, rainwater, and we have stone water taps. So that these are cleaned by Guti members every year. So that is another to protect water resources and to clean the resources. And the conducting festival and jatra of god and goddesses, that is another Guti. So we have different type of social institution to perform festivals to protect water resources, and to do social entrepreneurship, and to distribute drinking water to the people. And commercial guthi, we have another, well, as communal community run by people of the certain caste falls under this category. So Digu is Diwali, the goddess, for example, is basically formed with the motive of worshipping and clean deity and conduct religious activities, as I have discussed is earlier. So entertainment-oriented guthi, again, we have also another guthi to do the festival entertainment, religious feeling, promotes traditional music. We have many types of music like flute, big dhime, and you can see like plates, big plates. So it is preserved, and we play every year, occasionally. So summary, Nyavar society is rich in culture, ahead in celebrating several festivals throughout the year, has hundreds of mouth-watering cuisines. Our food is very scientific, so we have to have sour, sweet, salt, and it's a combination of all types of vitamins and minerals. We have to have minimum 6 varieties in our food, along with green vegetables, and many other different beautiful traditions, and the culture and civilization which stands unique among all. And our Nyavar person is bound to social organization by birth. That social organization is termed as guthi. We have discussed about guthi a lot, and social entrepreneurs creating impact for religion communities. So Nyavari cultures have had social enterprises since ancient times. Guthi, and I think it is repeating, operated, the organization I would like to talk about a little bit what we have been doing through Appropriate Technology Asia and National Federation of Women Farmers. We are doing to facilitate capacity building of the local communities, local women farmers, and the provision of improved water and sanitation facilities. We have been doing an introduction of new agricultural technologies, and we have been advocating for women-friendly technologies actually in agriculture, because we have feminization of agriculture, because most of the youth people, more than 6 million, they go abroad, India and some Gulf countries for labor work, for employment. And all the women, old people and children are in the villages in Nepal. So all agricultural production have been practiced by women. So we are advocating with the government that we want women-friendly technologies, and our tractors, the traditional technologies are very, they are male-friendly, very big tractors, and women cannot practice it. They cannot operate it. So we are advocating for women-friendly technologies and provision of training in health, education, and environment to combat the impact of climate change. And microcredit, vocational skills, we have been providing trainings and promotion of low cost and environmentally low impact technologies like biogas. We have been constructing to reduce or to eliminate the indoor smoke, because in the villages we have been consuming, we have been using a lot of biomass for cooking, and a lot of smoke we've been creating, and most of the women and children are sick, smoke related diseases. They have coughing and chest infections. So to eliminate that, we have installed more than 100 biogas plants, which has affected the reduce in smoke-related diseases. And also we distributed oxygen concentrator machines to COVID, to support the COVID patients in government hospitals and other some poor localities, which I have shared in Facebook. So you were Facebook friends, or you might have seen already. And AHIABGA strives to implement solutions that are suitable and fitting for local people given their natural environment and cultural and religious preference. We provide them, oh, it's almost, yeah, this is our we have been doing. And thank you for your attention, and thank you so much for the time you have given, and for invitation, Andrew, Lloyd, and all the international friends, Mariam. Thank you, and namaste.
Well, namaste to you. Thank you so much. We really do love and appreciate it.
Welcome. Thank you, Andrew.
Lloyd, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions? If you have any questions, please, I would like to reply. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we'll get some more conversations with Ganga and others. Actually, one of the draft proposals we have through the Global Unity Business Group is actually to try to help support, in particular, the women farmers, the rural women farmers in these communities. So we have drafted up an initial fundraising proposal, actually, to see if we can raise some money to actually purchase some small scale rice planting equipment, where we can potentially modify that equipment so that it becomes easy for the farmers, the local community members, to actually begin what we would call carbon farming. So I also have a conversation, for instance, with Carlos, and he says the situation for many of the farmers in Sierra Leone is quite similar to the situation in Nepal, and it's expected that that situation exists across much of the developing world in these rural communities. So that is something I will eventually be presenting to a group and many of the people on this call as well. So if there are other questions, I'm hoping that people will ask Ganga while she's on the call today with us. So in the meantime, anybody can put up their hand and interrupt me, but I will just say that the Global Unity Business Group was actually created to formalize, again, this process of localization of the SDGs, but it's really being done through the establishment of this Global Unity Network, which I think so far, as I mentioned, includes the Gardens Network and the Learning Network, which we think are both very important components. But the Health Network, I think, will eventually become something very, very important as well to these people in the communities in the rural, especially in the rural areas, but also in urban areas. We think the networks coming together, I think, to support people in communities like where Ganga is situated. But one thing that I would like to do is to support as well the local not-for-profit organizations and the civil society organizations in communities like where Ganga is, and empower them, in particular through the Ad hoc International Advisory Board. We do this by actually assisting them, this is where the EdFood Foundation comes into place, to register as members of the UN Global Compact, so we can collectively balance and hold accountable these the many multinational corporations who are also members of the UN Global Compact, and who tend to also be doing things in many of these local communities, some of which may be either not sustainable, and in some cases maybe not particularly desirable either, whether it's environmentally, socially, ethically, or otherwise. So having these organizations and helping them to register with the UN Global Compact, we believe will bring their voices directly to the boardrooms of the corporations. So we are essentially aiming actually for systems change through business practices, through government policy, from the grassroots. As my colleague Dr. Bashar Saheli actually wrote recently, it is this inertia and momentum of the ruling normative system that exists today that makes change so difficult to operationalize in the first place. So very often we need often major collapse before meaningful changes occur. But he did note one thing, and that is this current, what I call corona crisis, with the COVID-19 pandemic, serves as a sort of crisis situation that we can now consider as an opportunity that shouldn't be wasted to make some of the changes that need to be made. He then said, of course, that Buckminster Fuller has a famous quote where he once said that you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change things and to change something, you build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. And this is essentially what we are attempting to do here. And then he quoted again Max Planck, who said it's a new scientific truth does not triumph by convincing its opponents and making them see the light, but rather because its opponents eventually die and a new generation grows up that is familiar with the new paradigm. So this is what we are attempting to do here, is really reach the youth, reach that next generation. And so this idea of a new scientific truth not triumphing because of trying to convince the opponents, but it's also true of cultural truth and the stories that we're telling ourselves about how the world works and what is important in our world, in our lives. But he said also that the common denominant or dominant narrative of the current paradigm currently is dis-ease or disease, and it's based on war against nature, war against viruses. But this only creates problems, more problems than it solves. So he said that basically this mechanistic, reductive, militaristic, argumentative, rivalrous, competitive, negative sum game, that mindset is accelerating. And so this is leading to a chronic maladaptiveness by undermining our life support systems of the planet that really are the things that sustain us. So he said, instead of pressing on the brakes, we're unwittingly pressing on the accelerator and accelerating our own demise. So what he suggested, and I agree with him on this, is that we have a lot of noise coming in on here. So
I want to let you know we have new guests. The lady announced
sorry, we couldn't really understand what you had just said, Andrew. It's really
How about now? Can you hear me?
That's better.
Yeah, thank you. We do have new guests that have arrived, Lloyd. So perhaps now's the time to introduce our new guest, and then you could get back to your presentation, if that's okay with you.
Yes, of course. Anybody can interrupt me and put up their hand at any time if they want to ask questions or make comments.
Well, I just happened to see some new names. So if you choose, now's the time. Please unmute yourself and introduce yourself, make any comments. And of course, in the chat, Lloyd, I did include some linkages, particularly to the time we're in now. This is the 2021. This is technically the launch of the Decade for Biodiversity Restoration, but we're also in the decade of action on delivery of the SDGs. As you know, I'm a member of the United Nations Global Compact. So in the chat there, I've put together a 2021 through 2023 strategy that the United Nations Global Compact is encouraging for there to be a growth of what they call local networks. If you take a look at the map today, the places where the countries are where people are most likely to die from climate change are those same countries where there are the least number of local networks. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. So I'm seeing Samuel Okumu. If you're willing to unmute yourself and introduce yourself, we'd love to hear from you as well, and your interest and involvement where you are. We would just need to unmute yourself. If you could do so on your end. So unfortunately, we're still not getting any audio. Perhaps it's just a volume issue.
Yeah, let me check on the volume. Okay, I'm Samuel from Kenya, Samuel Okumu from Kenya.
Yes, okay, we're hearing you now.
Okay, yes, I'm Samuel Okumu from Kenya. I am a teacher, high school teacher of English and literature. And I got the invite from a friend who is part of the panel, and we are also friends on Facebook. So I clicked on the link and I was directed to the meeting.
Well, welcome, Samuel.
Thank you.
Apologies here, but my system is unfortunately again frozen here. I think people can hear me. Okay, anyway, I just wanted to say I was going on to talk about the dominant paradigm that we're in right now, where my colleague actually that he was the one, Dr. Saheli, who actually really drove us to develop this organization called the We Energize Global Cooperation Turtle Island Organization. And it was his philosophical musings, I guess, that led us toward this idea of life value peace education. But he actually noted, and I agree with him on this, that he hopes that our engagements right now through these conversations, these types of interactions, will become part of preparing, as he said, the life-grounded work for a rebuilding of our societies and our earth, because we need to increase our collective awareness to prevent recapture by the old ruling, like disabling mindsets. So what he said was, what we need now more than ever is a new narrative model of health and healing that welcomes back wounded souls, and that is based less on pathogenesis and more on salutogenesis, which is a narrative that culturally transcends diseases and includes health and healing right up to all levels of cultural engagements. What he called the transcendent cultural medicine model that consolidates all of the indigenous wisdom of past ages and shows that for full life coherence, we need to bring into consideration all of our deliberations and characteristic space-times and the fractal dynamics of the resonant biorhythms and biorhymes at all levels of life organization and coordination via a circular thermodynamic network or framework, as he calls it. So he said, what we need to do is co-create a better world that our hearts know is possible, based on the ancient wisdom of circular thought that is more salutogenetic, and where this better world becomes the resilient hierarchical actualization engine of life capital growth that supports both local autonomy and a global coherence at all scales through and through. What I'm going to do here is also paste a link that he sent. And so it includes actually the definition of salutogenesis, which is a word I had not actually heard of before just a few days ago. But as a medical doctor, he understands full health and how it really impacts beyond just the sort of physical health, but the mental health and the coming together of the physical, the mental, and the spiritual, and how we need to bridge all of these things in order to be fully healthy people. So he actually said the common unifying determinant of disease or dis-ease is chronic, toxic, life-filled or stress-filled life that is filled with deprivation. And whatever the specific cause of it, it may be toxic exposures to these physical, chemical, or biological substances, but it could also be psychological, chronic, stressful, toxic relationships and situations. And he said the common unifying determinant of health is actually comprehensive life needs satisfaction within a life-enabling, chronic, toxic, stress-free environment. So we need to get rid of those stressors in our lives, all of them, not just physical things, but the psychological things, the mental things, the spiritual things. So these are where we want to, these are the sort of environments we would like to create in these Unity Gardens. I'm going to just finally post a trilogy of blog articles that he actually posted. He writes these blog articles that really try to explain in more detail what he's trying to convey. And his message is starting to get out slowly, but we're trying to assist in delivering these messages as well, especially to the youth who will hopefully incorporate many of these ideas and ideals into their lives moving forward. And if there are any other or no other questions from other members or comments, I can simply go on.
Well, I would love to say I really loved Ganja's presentation, and particularly I loved the focus on the savoring and the celebrating of culture in general, but also through the arts, what we call the arts, what we've named the arts, but that's music and dance and ceremony. And I really think that we're talking about climate smart initiatives, which we think about Mother Earth. But climate smart initiatives is also regarding our internal climate and our cultural and our communities' climates. And as you so pointed out, millions of our children all over the world leave our homes, leave our villages at young ages to the globalized world so they can get modern jobs, leaving the seniors, the elders, and the women there to take care of all transmission, knowledge of food systems transmission, knowledge of cultural and heritage and language and all kinds of identities, backgrounds. And in the process of globalization and children leaving their villages and their homes, we're losing worldwide our cultural identities because we want to fit in with the globalized world. And we're sometimes we're ignoring that, and we're not even learning because we're leaving at young ages, and we're not learning from our grandparents, from our communities, all the important, and that's really important for climate action. Also our individual, our human internal climates and our communal climates, and it's all one bundle. And I really think that to gauge peace initiatives, as we can see, it's the arts and sporting events that connect the world, because with the arts, you put out paintbrushes or you do artisan weaving or whatnot. You don't need to speak the same language. You can see, you can be taught. With music, you put on music, and I know that Andrew is familiar with that, with hip hop generation, but you put on any music, you don't need to speak the same words. You feel the music, the instruments, the vibration, and might even resonate with the cultural identity in the music. And with the sports, you throw at a soccer ball and kids just play, or communities just play. So I really think you're sharing, I appreciate your sharing your background that you were born to, and the community around you, because I believe that we need to preserve all of these cultural heritages, identities that we all have around the world. We all do come from the same place originally, but we've shared around the world through the history, being in each other's regions and trading and living and loving with each other. And these ways need to be celebrated and preserved and merged with the large world where, we're trying to be one world. So I really, really appreciate your sharing, especially all of that. And I think that the new way of education, and that's my particular way, where around the world we tend to eliminate those programs in schools. We eliminate play, we eliminate music, we eliminate the arts, we eliminate sports for predominantly intellectual and academic agenda. And we are eliminating, recognizing the holistic parts of each person, the cultural parts, the spiritual parts, the ecological parts, the psychological parts, the emotional parts, the lingual parts, language parts. There's so many parts that we ignore and don't prioritize. And I believe that that's the key. Our own personal identity is to bring to the table locally and globally. It makes it such richness, and I appreciate your presentation. I hope that we can encourage those kinds of offerings for children systemically and globally.
Thank you very much, very, very much, Stephanie. This is something that I've been trying to bring through the program as well. I want to mention as well the Global Women's Development Network one more time. So even though I talk about creating a network of networks, that is the Global Unity Network, which is the work of the Global Unity Business Group, it is in fact the Global Women's Development Network that is the ultimate global network of networks, because all that we're doing in the Global Unity Network is actually establishing these virtual and physical spaces that become these classrooms that we call Unity Gardens, where people can learn all about all of these open source regenerative climate smart solutions, including the growing systems for climate smart food, like CSV gardens and victory forests and farms and pod buildings. But we are mostly only the home for people like these educators and their students, if thought about in traditional classroom configuration terminology. But it is actually the Global Women's Development Network that encompasses all of the women on the planet who wish to co-create a better future for all of the children on our planet, for at least the next 7 by 70 generations. Plus, of course, all the men who support these women. So what I wanted to say is that the Global Women's Development Network actually encompasses every feminist humanitarian entrepreneur on earth, which really should be the 8 billion human beings on this planet, who want to create a better future for themselves. So I could mention as well the importance of the Unity Learning Network. And this is what I've been working on actually with Stephanie as well. Why I believe it is the starting point for the establishment of our Global Unity Network. And I think we need to focus on the Unity Learning Network because before establishing any actual garden classroom, we need to develop a network of educators and other professional regenerative community practitioners who are actually capable of delivering content and delivering curriculum. Otherwise, there really isn't much point in developing the Unity Gardens as the physical gardens if nobody's going to be using them. So ideally, hopefully continuously using them throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the year, every year. So this mission to see the Unity Learning Gardens being used all day long, every day of the week, every week of the year, every single year is also why we are placing so much emphasis on the climate smart kitchens as well. That's probably the most important component of the Unity Gardens, whether they're CSV gardens or Big Creek Forests or farms or Spark Learning Centers. The climate smart kitchens are intended to be incorporated into all of those configurations of Unity Gardens. And they would become the dynamic community spaces, just as Ganga mentioned, the kitchens in the communities. These are the places that people will start to learn, start to share, start to grow, and tend and harvest and prepare and cook the climate smart food that they'll be able to grow in these gardens and in their own neighborhoods and in their communities. But there'll also be places where information, and stories, and music, and dancing, and all manner of cultural exchange and activities take place, all while sharing, of course, the nutritious, local, healthy food and drinks that can and will be served in and around the kitchens. So the Unity Gardens are meant to become the focal points, the cultural hubs of the communities, where the fresh, nutritious, locally produced, certified, regenerative, climate smart food and drinks, including teas. And this is why we have a tea initiative, produced from local plants and herbs, along with various other beverages that are plant-based, become the lubricants for all of our shared community activities and all of our shared learning. And this is sort of the point that I think we need to get to in every community, where we're beginning to share both locally with each other our own cultures, but also share with other people around the world. And so this is why we have both the physical gardens and the virtual network, what we call a network of peace. So I don't really have much more to say today, but if anybody else has any other comments or questions, especially for Ganga, we're at about 12:30 now, my local time, so it's been about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
With nothing else, perhaps we can wrap up, but I will give it a couple more minutes.
14 p.m. now. It is 10:14 minutes, night time. So thank you so much, Stephen. We loved it. I hope the world is very small. No matter where we are, just we love our mother earth, and our objective is common, that we want to protect earth, nature, and sustainable to combat climate smart and plantations and I would like to invite you all to Nepal once. Especially, I was requesting, I've been asking your lawyer to visit Nepal once. Now, all of us, please. We have demonstration farm, climate smart demonstration farm. We using appropriate technologies. We use all the local technologies. We don't have very big, huge, sophisticated technologies. We have common but local and sustainable. Our water tank is made of what we call it is moss, the tree moss. We collected moss from trees in jungle, and we collect and we step with moss and stone and moss and stain, and we made huge water tank. And it is very natural, and the moss began to make it leakage free in the stone tank. So that is our non-cement water tank, because in mountain, in rural areas, we don't have transportation to take cement and technical things. So whatever we have available, we use that. And for biogas plants, water tank, and we have also in mountain, we have toilets, pit toilets. So we have 3 feet by 3 feet deep pit, and we cover it with wooden plank and cover with some bushes from outside. And when it is filled, we leave it for 18 to 2 years to make it decay. When it is manure decayed, so we plant apple plants on that pit. So we have, after 2.5 years, we have big apples from our pit. That is appropriate technology we have been using in mountain.
Mountain apple.
Yeah, mountain apple.
Yes, we can learn so much.
And yeah, we've been using this type of technology. And also in women health, we have a lot of problem with women health. We have uterine prolapse. Women, because they carry heavy load on their back, childbirth, and a lot of hard work have been done by women. And men are so relaxed in mountain. They do spinning of wool, yak wool. Men's job is to do spinning and weaving of carpets. And all the heavy loads, women have to carry it.
Yes.
Women have a problem with the uterus prolapse. And we have been teaching them some yoga positions to protect from the prolapse. And first, second, third degree, we use a rubber ring to hold uterine inside. Every 3 months, we change that ring. LRP. LRP means local resource person to do that. And it is very rural area, and they don't have transportation facilities. So we have to walk, or we have to go by helicopters. We've been working in very remote mountain area, high altitude areas. So we have this type of technology, whatever available, we used it. And we have also rainwater harvesting. We've been doing. We harvested rainwater via bamboo. We use roof tin and bamboo. From bamboo, we do that. And we have cold storage. We built, again, appropriate technology we use to build. We don't have refrigerator in mountain. We don't have electricity for refrigerators. So what we did, we made stone boxes, and in between 2 panel of stone, in between we fill with sand. Around the wall, stone, sand, and stone, and we fill in sand water, and we make it cover of wooden plank, so that become evaporative cooler. So zero energy refrigerator we built, and we can store potatoes for a year, and some green vegetables for 1 week, and we have organic ginger, very good ginger, and we store it in those evaporative coolers. And we also built some solar dryers, locally available materials, some wooden planks and some plastics, and we process metal plants for food, and so many things. If you visit, please, you are welcome. you could see and you could feel, and you could practice, of course, our our demonstration farm. So, and I would like to exchange our knowledge. I would like to learn from you people also, if you have technologies or ideas, if it is possible. And we have been working in India as well, in mountain Uttarakhand and Jammu and Kashmir, due to the it's a border to Pakistan. Mariam knows the Jammu and Kashmir in Kargil, in mountain area. There we've been teaching them how to grow the natural vegetables, means without pesticides. So no pesticides, organic. Let's say organic. To say organic, it is very sophisticated. We have to prove it GMO and so many things. So I would like to, I love to say natural farming rather than organic. So natural farming in India and Nepal since 2001. And the women farmers, we've been working from 1990s. We are making women empower to make them economically sustainable, to make them do some income generation activities, doing handicrafts. Oh, I would like to also share that we have some hand-woven woolen hats, gloves, and socks with yak wools, which we taught them, women, to do some knittings. And they have also indigenous knowledge how to do it. And yeah, we did some marketing. We have natural fiber materials for handbags, for ladies' handbag. We have made up with grass, and we grass this bag and slippers made of from natural fibers like grass, and also yarn from banana tree. So we have woven carpet from banana tree yarn. And we went to China in exhibition in Canton Fair. That was in 2019 and 20, 2 times. We participated in Canton Fair in China, Guangzhou. But there was huge order, millions of pieces they wanted to have, but we didn't have, because it is handicraft and we could not produce that much of grass wood natural fiber product. And okay, this is all I would like to again, thank you so much, Lloyd, Andrew, and all the Nikki, Pinar, and Carlos, Stephen, Mariam, Sumel, and President. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I once again invite you all in Nepal, okay? Please.
Yes. Well, we'll be working here in Toronto area, but I'll be having conversations with people like Stephanie and others, and we'll plan a trip to go visit you for sure, because I think we can learn so much.
We have also organic tea from tea and coffee
through exchanges like this.
Okay.
Yes, the tea initiative. I think we can also implement something with Nepal, but that's actually related to conversations I've been having with people in Taiwan, because Taiwan is sort of this country, and it does have its own country or its own government, separate from China. Where we want to turn this into a diplomatic initiative between the tea growers in China and the tea growers in Taiwan, to bring them together to work together again in partnership as per SDG 17. So within the private sector tea growing communities around the world, beginning to actually grow the climate smart way possible, the tea as well. So we could have climate smart tea growing systems developed even in Nepal as well. And so that is the basis for this initiative, actually, as a peace initiative from the perspective of the growers. So I think with this, we'll probably wrap up for today. Thank you very much, Ganga. This was such an excellent presentation. I'm hoping that everybody learned a lot today. We will continue, Carlos as well. We'll continue in Sierra Leone. We'll continue in Kenya. We'll continue across Africa. We will continue having conversations about creating our network, and establishing the learning programs, the exchange programs. I think are very important to continue. Every week we'll be having these events. Every Thursday at the same time, 11 o'clock EST, where we begin, and we try to bring in a new guest speaker every week. So next week, we will have somebody else and a new topic of discussion. But the main point is actually to start engaging these local communities in the conversation around sustainable development, eventually moving toward what we like to say is regenerative development as the next the Millennium Development Goals. We're hoping that when the UN comes together to start discussing the next phase after 2030, because the SDGs are only from 2015 till 2030, they will begin to have a conversation around regenerative development, the path forward to regenerate the health of the people on our planet and all relations as the next phase of sustainable development to regenerative development and the Millennium Development.
Okay, Lloyd.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'm in transit now, but I have another meeting scheduled in a few moments. So I'd like to thank everyone for joining us. Now it's time for any closing thought. Please leave your email address in the chat, and we'll follow up with a replay of this and also a copy of the chat contents. The floor is open.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. And if you want to save the chat, just go to the bottom corner of your screen, the 3 little dots, and press Save Chat before we finish today. We'll also be sending this information around. So again, leave your email if you haven't done so already.
Okay, thanks everyone for joining us.
Thank you.
And I'll send along the chat to anyone that has their email address here. Thank you. Love you all. Namaste.
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 Bye-bye.
Good night. Good night. Bye-bye.